Welcome to my library. Today I will talk to you about the Byzantine Cataphracts. As back as 1500 BC, Anatolian civilizations like the Hittites started to use heavily armored units to cause terror in the battlefield. These warriors were the predecessors to today's subject, the cataphract. Cataphracts were heavily armored cavalry units that played a prominent role in ancient and medieval warfare. The term cataphract comes from the Greek word kataphractos, which literally means fully armored. The use of cataphracts can be traced back to ancient Persia in the 6th century BCE, where they were known as grivpanvar. These Persian cataphracts were heavily armored horsemen who rode into battle with their horses covered in armor as well. The armor consisted of overlapping iron or bronze plates attached to a leather or cloth backing and covered the horse's head, neck, chest, and legs. Cataphracts were also used by the Parthians, who were the Persian Empire's successors in the 3rd century BCE. They were used in a similar fashion to the Persians, and their cavalry was so feared that the Roman Emperor Trajan had to build a wall along the Euphrates River to keep them at bay. The Roman Empire, first the West and then the East, called them klivanophoroi, which it translates in Greek as furnace-wearers. In the Byzantine Empire, cataphracts were the backbone of the army. Unlike previous cataphract units, the Byzantine cataphract carried a superior two-handed lance called kontos. They also carried a sword called paramerion, and in some cases also a bow. They charged into enemy lines and break their formation. The Byzantine cataphract also had a distinctive crest on his helmet made of horsehair, which made him easy to spot on the battlefield. During the early medieval period, cataphracts were used by a number of different cultures, including the Sassanid Persians, the Huns, and the Goths. The Mongols also used cataphracts, but they were known as heavy cavalry and were used in a slightly different manner. The use of cataphracts declined in the late medieval period with the advent of gunpowder and firearms. While heavily armored cavalry was still used, it became less effective against firearms and was eventually phased out of use. However, the concept of heavily armored cavalry would influence later developments in military tactics and technology, such as the development of tanks in the 20th century. The Byzantine Empire was famous for its use of this heavily armored cavalry, which played a vital role in various battles. The use of cataphracts in the Byzantine army can be traced back to the 4th century, when they were introduced by the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great. However, it was not until the 6th century, under the Emperor Justinian I, that the cataphract became the dominant force in the Byzantine cavalry. One of the most famous battles in which Byzantine cataphracts played a significant role was the Battle of Callinicum in 531 AD, during the reign of Emperor Justinian I. The Byzantine army, led by General Belisarius, faced off against the Sassanid Persians. The Persian army had a superior number of troops, but the Byzantine cataphracts charged into their lines, causing significant casualties and routing the Persian army. Another notable battle was the Battle of Yarmouk in 636 AD, where the Byzantine army faced off against the Arab armies of the Islamic Caliphate. The Byzantine cataphracts were once again instrumental in breaking through the Arab lines and inflicting significant casualties. The use of cataphracts in the Byzantine army continued until the fall of Constantinople in 1453 AD, although their effectiveness declined with the advent of gunpowder and firearms. Despite this, the legacy of the Byzantine cataphract lived on, influencing later developments in cavalry tactics and technology. Byzantine cataphracts were heavily armored cavalry units that played a critical role in the Byzantine Empire's military success. They were known for their impressive armor and weaponry, which allowed them to charge through enemy lines and disrupt formations. In battle, Byzantine cataphracts were used to break through enemy lines and disrupt their formations. They would charge into the enemy with their lances, and then use their swords and maces to engage in close combat. They were also effective at pursuing and running down fleeing enemies. The Byzantine cataphract was not only a skilled warrior, but also a well-trained and disciplined soldier. They were part of the elite guard units known as the Scholae Palatini, which were stationed in Constantinople and served as the emperor's personal bodyguards. The equipment of Byzantine cataphracts was a formidable combination of armor and weaponry, designed to ensure their success on the battlefield. The fully armored cataphracts were protected by a combination of scale, mail, and plate armor, known as clavanion, which shielded them from a variety of weapons including swords, spears, and arrows. Their helmet, made of iron, was a crucial piece of their armor, covering their head and neck while featuring a distinctive crest made of horsehair, which helped identify the cataphracts on the battlefield. In addition to their armor, Byzantine cataphracts carried a variety of weapons, including a lance, sword, and mace, with the lance being their primary weapon of choice. The lance was used to charge into enemy lines and break through formations, while the sword and mace were employed in close combat when the cataphract was engaged in hand-to-hand fighting. To protect themselves from incoming projectiles, the cataphracts also carried a small shield called a pelta, made of wood and covered in leather or metal. Mounted on powerful horses that were also heavily armored, Byzantine cataphracts were able to charge into battle with confidence. The horse's armor, covering its head, neck, chest, and legs, protected it from enemy attacks while charging into battle. The combination of heavy armor, powerful horse, and formidable weaponry made the Byzantine cataphracts a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield, allowing them to break through enemy lines and achieve victory. If you enjoy history, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next one.